recorded and it will be made available. Please keep your microphones muted until the question and answer period at the end. You can also ask questions in chat. Welcome, everyone. As a representative of the Faculty Forum Committee on Community Affairs, in conjunction with members of the class of 1969 and liaison Captain Peter Kale, it is my honor and privilege to introduce today's KP Industrial Hour speaker, Mr. Nate Brooks. Mr. Brooks is a KP graduate of the class of 1975, where he earned a BS in marine engineering with honors. After sailing, he earned both an MS in nuclear engineering from MIT and an MBA from Harvard Business School. He is an entrepreneur with careers in real estate and sales training. Today, he will speak with insight and expertise on entrepreneurship, the King's Point advantage. Welcome, Mr. Brooks.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'm going to do something that nobody expects here, but that's usually the way I am anyway. But let me see if I can remember this, okay? Hidey, hitty, hidey, ho, what do you say? What do you know? Sound off, 1, 2, cadence count, 3, 4, bring it on down, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, see, so that's in case, did I do okay? I haven't done that since 1971. I mean, this is like the first time, you know, basically doing that again. The other thing that I love is, and this is to get, if we have any plebes here, and I don't know if they've been accepted to fourth, you know, officially fourth class. Have they done that yet? You know, anybody know? No? Or we don't do that anymore. Okay.
We do it in May, the last day possible.
Okay, all right. So that's our class, and the class of 75 didn't do it. We didn't get it until May. It was like they kept us as plebes for a long time. But anyway, so I'm so excited to be here. And one of the things that welcome to, you know, this event, ladies and gentlemen, hope there's some women on board because I've got some great news for you guys. It really, I just want to share this with you because you guys have a tremendous advantage in the world right now. You have, I know that, you know, some people might not really are sure what to do. I wish I had somebody telling me this when I graduated. Basically, what happens here is that I know you have your obligation, and I look at it like this. That gives you an advantage. So you got, you know, you got a 6 to 8 year head start. Because if you plan your opportunity to go forward, you know, you graduate, you're doing your obligation, you basically work 6 months on, six off, and you got the opportunity to take advantage of the fact that nobody else has this advantage at your age in college. So let's just talk about that. I want to make sure that you hear this. And if there's any women here, I want to make sure that you know that you're standing on the shoulders of giants. In 1978, the first women graduates of any federal academy happened right there where you are right now at the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. So those women were pioneers, and several of them took advantage of the fact that they were able to do their obligation and prepare themselves for wealth creation in the future. That's what we're trying to make sure that when you leave here today, or you know, after I'm done today and you leave the academy, what happens is that if you've already started to think and plan, you've positioned yourself to have an advantage over other graduates of any other academy. So let me give you an example. Something happened? Who's that? Okay, well, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to keep going unless you tell me there's another problem. Okay, so I'm going to keep going. So anyway, in 1978, I'm going to give you an example. The women, I believe it was 7 women, finished and graduated from the academy. They set the bar high for the rest of the women because they took the abuse that it took. You know, when I say abuse, meaning they weren't welcomed initially, but they were strong women, intelligent women, and they broke barriers as they went on to make sure that they were able to make a difference. And you have the opportunity because they took the heat, they did it, and they made sure that they set the bar high for all of us at the Academy. For example, in Ivy Barton, that was her name back then. She got married, Ivy Barton Suter, became a CEO in the maritime industry. And today she's living in Florida and married and has, a consultant practice. So she took advantage of the opportunity that we have while you're making your obligation. In fact, I met her in her first year at Harvard Business School. I was finishing up my second year. So you have a situation where I tried to help her. When I went to MIT, for example, there was a gentleman in the class of 74, Bill Walker. He gave me the insight and the lowdown, took me step by step to say, this is what you got to do. Here's the best thesis advisors, do this, do that. So part of the advantage that I want to make sure that you have when you leave here, you have an alumni association, alumni that care about other Academy graduates, and they want to make sure that they are there to be an assistance to you. And we have some incredible people. So, I'm going to share this. So take a look at what Nancy Wagner, she graduated in that class of 78. She became a captain. Then she was in San Francisco being a pilot. And she just recently retired in Hawaii, off in Hawaii, married to another San Francisco captain. And they went on to move to Hawaii. Now you also have, and I'm going to make a point because I'm making sure that you hear this, Meredith Nizer and two other were the first African-American people, women that graduated from a federal academy. And we're talking about any federal academy. And Meredith Nizer went on to go, as she completed her obligation, she went on to Stanford, got into Stanford Business School. So let's stop and here and take a second and make sure that you understand what I'm really saying. We have an academy graduate right there, people just like you, went to Harvard Business School, went to Stanford, and the colleges all over the country, right there, just right there where you are sitting there watching this. What I'm trying to make sure that you understand is this. In the outside world, you have an advantage. The advantage you have is you have the advantage of having self-confidence. You have the advantage of leadership skills. You have the advantage of thinking skills. You have the advantage of having that tremendous confidence, because think about it. When you go aboard ship, and I always loved this about when I was on aboard ship, I always loved the fact that if something went wrong, I had to fix it. Nobody else, I had to fix it. Now you cannot go to the book and say, let me run up here and see, is there a book to tell me what to do? If there's something wrong, you got a few seconds to figure it out, but that's what you've been trained for. You got the academy staff that is just proud, and they worked hard to help you get the confidence to know your craft well. And you have that opportunity now to go ahead and start developing some kind of business as you go on to complete your obligation. So let's make sure, first you got to complete your obligation. That's the most important thing that you got to do. But because you have the King's Point advantage of, being able to work and part of the time, do your job part of the time, free time. Now, let's make sure, I'm going to make sure you see a few things that you have to, get 2 or 3 of you guys together. Let's make sure, you want to say 2 or 3 friends, instead of just renting an apartment, why don't you buy a condo? I can promise you this, and you can even look, even though we've had the downturn in 2007, 2008, I want to make sure that you hear this. Any time period, and you go 10, 12 years, in any time period, no matter even that time period, the housing prices went up. So that is how you can begin. If you start strategically thinking, you have the ability to start creating wealth while you are doing your commitment. So that's it. I think that, but now if you wait too long to start, you're not going to have that advantage. Right now, if you start thinking again, you can start creating another business. For example, when I went to sea, okay, I'm the old guy here. So when I went to sea, once you got out to sea, that gangplank, they pull the gangplank up, that's it. There ain't nobody going to hear from you at all. I mean, you're out there, you could be out there for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, and that's when they heard from you when you got back. But it was not a situation where you have today. You got technology. You can do all sorts of things. You can write. You can have a graphic website development. You can write software, code. You can do all sorts of things if you're strategic. Set up a business with your wife, or spouse, or another classmate. So what I'm saying is that it's now up to you to start thinking strategically to say, what can I do during these times? So make sure that you look at investments. I use this phone right here. I use my phone right here. I've talked to people all over the world now, literally. I mean, I use WhatsApp. You can use use WhatsApp, and you can talk to anybody, anywhere. I mean, yesterday I was talking to people in the Philippines. I talked to people in Poland. I talked to people in France, Australia. I mean, so you can talk to people all over the world. What that means is your next phone call can be another business partner. Your next phone call can be an investment partner. Your next phone call can be from your spouse. It can be from anything that you're thinking of, and you can start doing, strategic joint ventures. You have all sorts of things. Now, we have other people in the class. Some of you guys don't know, and I know there's a gentleman right here that you can get your PhD. You can get your PhD in terms of in different industries. Okay. Now we also have a gentleman in the class of 1975, Reginald McCamey. He went on and got his MBA and his JD. Got his MBA from USC. Got his JD from the University of Houston. And then he became in admiralty law. He has an admiralty law firm. So you have all sorts of ways to make a contribution, but you start there now. If you do it right now. For example, when I went, you can establish a relationship with your friend. Reginald McCamey is my best friend. I met him in 1971 when we walked in those gates in July 1971. So I'm sharing this with you because it's exciting. It's exciting. You are meeting the captains of industry right now, in your class. And you have the advantage of the Kings Point leadership alumni. And I haven't met a Kings Pointer that has not been willing to help me when I ask for some help. And it's advice, strategic. You have people that care. And we got people in my class that became pastors. So there's all sorts of things that you can do, but they started right at the beginning. You become professors, teachers, researchers. All of this is possible. So, but you're the one that has to start thinking out in advance, because as time goes on, okay, I'm saying this, I'm basically 70 years old. And so at that age, I can tell you in the last 50 years, the Kings Pointers have always come to help. I've helped some. So what I'm saying is this, is that you are an elite group of people, students. You have an advantage, but you have to start thinking that way first. And it's not complicated. And there's only 3 ways to grow any business. I'm just going to give you a little business lesson for a second. 1 is to acquire customers. 2 is to increase the size of the order the very first time that they order. And then the 3rd thing is to get a continuity kind of program so that you can build residual income. 3 ways. So you can start doing that. What is it? Some of you are graduating this year. You can start doing that now when you start doing your obligation. That's all. See, and if you understood what the outside world, the college admissions directors and the people who evaluate, They love Academy graduates. They love it because we have leadership skills, we have self-confidence, we have discipline. And so when you look at all of those skills that the faculty members there, because the faculty members really care about you, they want you to succeed at a high level. I want you to succeed at a high level. Why? Because when I mentioned that I'm from the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy, I want the outside world to say, wow, you went there? Wow, you went there? Yes, I went there. And that's leadership. And that's what you guys have. And you guys have, like I said, that advantage. And I can go through here the different names. And we become academy graduates. We got an oil trader in my class now. Did his obligation, became a captain, and then now is an oil trader. So making 20 million a year, by the way. So it's possible to build that second career. It's possible to keep your career right in the maritime industry. We've got a bunch of my classmates, and several of them are, they've gone to get, additional homes in like Panama, so, Colombia. So what I'm telling you, the world is your oyster right now, but you have to start thinking about it and saying, what am I going to do? I graduate. We graduated June 23rd, 1975. And from that day, you start fulfilling your obligation. And I remember I graduated that day. I think I had to, I went right down to the Philadelphia Navy shipyard, and I was in the shipyard, and I went with a gentleman by the name of Brian Tanton. He and I were on the ship together, Philadelphia Navy shipyard, and we had to do 30 days, and it was, cold water, all that stuff, so I still remember all of that because it was fun. But we started building our obligation immediately, right away, as soon as we got out. And then now you say, okay, I've done that. So now what do I got to do in this period? And I promise you, if you start to think about it now, you'll be able to take action, not just talk about it when you get out here. And I think that's what, isn't that our motto? Acting nonverbal. So what I'm saying is this, is that if you start to take advantage and you have people willing to help you from the academy, we want you to succeed. We want you to be great. The academy people want you to be great. Donna wants you to be great. And so we have, and I'm not forgetting you, Peter. Peter Kale wants you to be great. We all want you to be great, and we know that you have to start planning it. So now I'm going to make an offer to anybody here at the academy. Since I do this here, since I talk to people all over the world. You're certainly welcome to find me on Facebook and just and reach out. And I'm more than happy. You got a question? If I can help you, I'm more than happy to do it. And I'm just going to say it's www.facebook.com/the Nate Brooks. So see, not Nate Brooks, the Nate Brooks, all one word. So I'm saying that just because I want to make sure it is an offer that we're willing to help you. I can tell you this, I'm really grateful that Bill got in touch with me. And you see, because it was interesting, because somebody referred me to Bill. I don't even know who he was. To this day, I still don't even know who the person is. Never met him. He found me on Facebook, and he worked with Bill to say, this is the guy that, probably can talk about with experience. So, I mean, I can only tell you this, my life has changed. And I didn't tell you a story, and so I want to make sure you can be from any discipline in life. I came from the South Bronx. That's why South Bronx. I was right there in the Melrose Projects, building number 305, 5E. You can go over there and see exactly where I started. And from there, I went to the academy. But I'd recommend that you don't, if you go there by cab, stay in the cab and don't get out. Okay, it's but that's when I started, and I walked in those gates. Those gates changed my life. That's right where you guys are at right now. I'm so grateful that I had a chance to go to the Merchant Marine Academy. It's the starting point that changed my life. From there is regular discipline. I know one thing for sure is that the college graduates, I mean, the college schools, they love Academy graduates, so you can go on and work school in. In fact, I even know one person that got his, got his whole MBA quit, right? Isn't it? I think it's a guy right on here. I know his name, but I don't expect him to pop in. But anyway, is a guy that got his MBA like in 9 months. They have accelerated programs. They don't mind putting us in accelerated programs because they know we have the discipline to make it happen. Let's see, where am I? Yeah, I got to make sure I know what time it is. Okay, so all right. So the let me see, what else do I need to say before we open it up for questions? So you can purchase real estate, all right? You can share real estate, because that's what happened to me, okay? What happened to me is that when I had basically completed my obligation, I'd made a decision. I said, okay, let me see if I can, make myself have the diversity that I need to be effective in the maritime industry. And I decided to apply to Harvard Business School. So basically I had to sell all my stuff, and then I live with Reginald McCamey. And then I applied to go to business school. I'm gonna tell you something that you probably never heard, and you probably never hear it again. When I applied to Harvard Business School, this is interesting. I had no time to do anything. I was about to get on the Arco Endeavor. Never forget it. I was about to get on the Arco Endeavor. I had like let's see, maybe 36 hours to get there, to get down to Long Beach, and so I had to go. I drove down from Washington State at the time, took whatever I needed to, dumped it off at Reggie's, and then ran over and it pulled up to the gate. But I did my application to go to Harvard, and I'm probably the only one that's done this. I sent my application and acceptance at the same time. I basically had a pink envelope, and I had on the outside, I wrote, it said, because once you got aboard the ship back in those days, nobody was going to talk to you. I wouldn't even know if I was accepted or anything. I didn't know, but I had to go make the money to pay for it. That's the advantage you also have. You got a chance to make good money, good bank. And so that's what I did. I sent the acceptance on the outside. I said, open after the application has been reviewed, only after. And and I had the acceptance right there in a pink envelope. I mean, it was just crazy. I'm just, but that's how I applied, and I got in. I got in. And so why did we get in? They love Academy graduates, because when I went, there was an Academy graduate from the class of 74 that went to Harvard Business School. So you had like 3 years. One guy from 74, myself, was in 75, and then you had Ivy Barton at the same time, was in 78. See, we were all there 1 year right after the other. We all sat there together and said, let's help each other out. Let's figure out, let's make sure everybody knows the ropes. And so you have that advantage there. And that's what I'm trying to say. I'm so excited about the Academy, but you have to have your eyes open right at the very beginning. You have to have your eyes wide open, understand what your advantage is, and then you got to take action. Okay, you got to take action. You can't sit there and not think that, I'm not going to make it happen. And it doesn't matter wherever you are. You start wherever you are, and you start making it happen. And like I said, the people that I know that were very focused, because I know Reggie was the same thing. He was doing his obligation. Reggie was going to school, sailing, getting his, so he got his MBA, I think, in between sailing. And so he was reaching his out, and like I said, he was at USC, and then he kept sailing and becoming a captain. Then he went to University of Houston Law School. So he was doing that. I mean, I think it might have been 8 to 9 years before that guy got a break, but he's got a tremendous advantage. I mean, in fact, I talked to him last night. He's going to Dubai. So he's going to Dubai. And so he called me to make sure that, I knew 2 things. One is that, because he's my best friend. He said, I want you to know that I love you. So, go knock it out the park, do whatever you need to do, but I know you're gonna do a good job. Just stay there, stay focused, excite the students. So anyway, he called me, and then I had another gentleman, Mark Brannigan, called me up. I'm so proud to come from the Merchant Marine Academy. There's nothing better. And I've been to, obviously you heard it, MIT, Harvard Business School, and Merchant Marine Academy. I can tell you this, if the admissions department called me today, if they called me today and said, we want you to come next July, this coming July, this one, the one that's coming right up, I'm in. I love this place so much because it really changed my life. It took me from the projects in the South Bronx all the way up to, I live a great life. And the only thing that I was, I do have one thing that I was upset about the Academy is that I tried to get into the Navy, and I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. That's probably why the cycle case is here. So I wanted to be a Navy SEAL, and back then, I don't think that's the way we could do it today, but back then, I wasn't able to do that because they wouldn't allow flat feet, and I had flat feet. But I think today they allow that, but back then I didn't do it. So I had to do the mix and match commitment, but I still am a crazy cycle case. I run 3 to 4 miles, 3 to 5 miles, 4 to 5 times a week. And I run the whole distance, about 11 minutes a mile pace. I'm 9 pounds away from my athletic weight at the Academy. I ran track, played basketball. So I'm living a great life because of where you guys are sitting right now. And I was able to take advantage of what I needed because I was able to understand how to weave in to get myself prepared for wealth creation and doing other things while I was fulfilling my obligation. And so once you're able to do that, I'm telling you, you're in a great space. And there's so many. The world is your opportunity. It's the world. And like I said, you can talk to anybody now, anybody for free. Anybody, you can talk to anybody in the world for free right now. And that's really such an exciting place to be. And like I said, everything has been just a wonderful experience. And wealth creation, career planning, it's up to you to do it. It's up to you to change and make your life the way you want it to make. And so I want to say that on behalf of myself, behalf of the faculty, behalf of Donna, Peter, Bill Lexige, and everyone else behind the scenes that I don't know who's done all the stuff. It's been an honor for me. This is a full circle moment for me because like I said, over 50 years ago, I walked in that gate just sitting there where you are. And I have the opportunity to have a great life because I went to the U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. I'll do it again in a heartbeat. I love it. I love to help Academy graduates. I still have all my friendships with, several Academy graduates. And I like these guys and these men and women because they're in the trenches kind of people. And when I say in the trenches, I mean, they're in the trenches. They're doing the deal. And when you start doing the deal, they're willing to help. So, and that's really what it's about. I mean, if you can get that help, get that advantage, and I don't care if you go to these other schools, I'm telling you, the alumni here is amazing. And the other thing they have is they have some money too, so that if you need some money, they can help you and be an investment partner in something. So don't be afraid, reach out to any Academy graduate. Peter, you have something for me? No? No? Yes? Peter, this is Peter Kale, talking to you. No.
I have a question.
Oh, yes, sir.
If Donna's going to open the questions, I'll let her go first.
Okay, yes. So if you have any questions, just press the reaction bar and hit raise hand and we'll call on you as soon as we see your name. Thank you.
Or you can put something in the chat. I put something in the chat. And I noticed a lot of your examples relate to continuing education and future degrees. How important do you think that plays into the, is it really important for these students to go out and get a graduate degree or some sort of continuing education or raise their license? How do you equate those? You know,
It depends on your career path. So in terms of a career path, if you're looking to add something additional, I wanted to make sure that they knew that it was possible and that they're well respected by other schools. I wanted to make sure that they got that point. But you can make a career path, you know, like I said, I use the Ivy Barton, I use Reginald McCamey. They all been, Nancy Wagner, for example, Kathy Metcalf. They all created, and they did stuff in the maritime industry. So you're rounding your base, you're getting the experience out at sea, sailing, and whether you're in the, you know, deck or engine side. And I know that, you know, we also do shipbuilding and things like that. So I was just making sure that people knew that you're not pigeonholed to just do one thing. You have that expansion, and you can even go in other areas. That's all. I'm just trying to make sure that we don't limit ourselves, because there is no reason to limit yourself. We have the best education in the world today. You got great faculty.
I like to comment when I write a recommendation letter for somebody to go to graduate school. I often put a paragraph in there on how the GPA from a King's Pointer may be somewhat
Lower.
because
Yes.
they're taking a high 178 credits instead of 125 credits.
There's also one other thing. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was about to tell you this. I was about to say this because and some people are afraid to apply to the different schools because of that. But the truth of the matter is that I've never been to a school that, you know, and these other people are going to schools that are A, you get an A or a B or a C if you screw up. That's not what happened when I was at the academy. When I was at the academy, they gave them all out, A, B, C, D, and F. They gave all of those grades out. And so the college admissions people, they know that our grade point average is lower. So if you got a 3.5, 3.6, they consider that 4.0. They consider that first class. And so, you know, and I believe that, you know, I think that you can even go down to 3.2, and they still admire and respect what your numbers are if you're trying to get to the top ones. Now, and that doesn't mean that other ones are not top. It means that they respect, they know that we're the academy, the people are the real deal. These students, they learn, they know their stuff, they know their craft. And so anyway, just don't even have that as a mental block. Possibility is there for everything. Okay.
Okay.
Did
We
I
have a
answer that?
question in the chat.
Okay.
Actually, there's two. I'll read the first one. What financial books would you recommend that helped you?
The answer, it depends what you're trying. Are you trying to invest? No, I don't expect you to answer back, but I'm going to just say, so if you're trying to invest, the truth of the matter is I'm going to recommend that, you know, that you find an investment advisor if you're going to do that, or invest in real estate. Like, remember I said earlier, real estate, you don't lose. I mean, if you're gonna, as long as you hold it, if you're gonna have an investment you're planning to hold for a long time, I don't know people that's lost. The only people that lose, and don't matter what there's in the news, I'm telling you, if you take something and you hold it for 10 to 12, 13 years, you'll pay it all down, it'll be free and clear, and the value has gone up. So I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to recommend any financial book, because honestly, you know, I'm not sure that they're any good. And you got people out there. Here's what I'm going to tell you about finances: get debt free. Okay, I'm going to tell you what Nate Brooks does. Get debt free. You go buy your real estate. If you're going to buy more and rental property, things like that, listen, double up on some payments, get that thing paid off. And the way I did it is I started with I mean, I've had experience. I bought 14 properties in one day. Okay, in one day, not 2 days, one day. Okay, and so when I did that, basically what I did is that, you know, so I had different size mortgages. So what I did is I started doubling it up on the lowest one possible. So the lowest one, so I did that low mortgage, started going to, I did first I did 15-year fix, 15-year fix. Then I basically started doubling up on the lowest one. Then when that one was free and clear, then I took whatever that payment was, then I took the next lowest one and paid that one off. And I basically got them all done in like 7 years, 8 years total. And then from there, it's all free and clear. So so I would basically, you're going to have to do that. Now, I say that you're talking to a guy that is a studier. Okay. Okay. Let me just go ahead and I'm just going to show you this. This here is and you can probably see a lot of pages. I'm a studier. This is the table of contents. This is not the book. The table of contents of all the courses, books, and I did it in sales and marketing, a little bit of finance like you're talking about, and personal growth mindset. 108 pages is the table of contents. I had everything digitized, all my stuff for the last 40 years. So 40 years, I had my table of contents of my material, 108 pages long. That's the table of contents. And each of these can go down 30, 40, 50, 60, 1,000 pages deep. I study, I learned my craft, and I've been studying ever since I left the academy. I never stopped. I kept going. That's what you got to do. You want to achieve greatness in your life, keep studying when you leave the academy. Education continues, and you got to either believe it or you don't. If you believe it, you're going to change your life. Okay, that's that one. Next one.
Okay, the next question is, sir, in your experience, has it been necessary to achieve master or chief engineer to successfully transition to an executive shoreside career? For example, if I were to finish my sailing commitment at second mate and then apply to shoreside jobs.
The answer to that question is that everything in life depends. Okay, here's what I noticed about the different academy graduates that I've been in touch with still. The answer to that question is no, you don't have to get all the way up there. So, the opportunity happens. Whenever you have an opportunity, you got to grab it. And so what I mean by opportunity, I mean this. Let's assume that somebody is a shoreside job. Basically, if you learn your vocabulary and your speaking skills, that you have experience way beyond what most people have. And I'm just making sure that you understand that. Don't just put that final limit, because what's happening now is that it's harder to get all the way up there. It's going to take time. So I don't want you to miss out on an opportunity because it's going to take you, another extra 3 to 4 years to get the masters or the captains. You see what I'm saying? See, so just make sure, don't limit yourself. Always think possibility. Always think possibility. And then you got to have some confidence in yourself, because if you talk to somebody, okay, and I mentioned that I'm talking to a billionaire, and we met by happenstance. Literally, it was just a happenstance. I was in a meeting, he was in a meeting. There was only 6 of us in the meeting, and nobody knew each other. Everybody knew one particular person. And after the meeting, I looked at it and I said, there was like 3 or 4 people. I said, I'm not interested in ever talking to those people again. But I said I was interested in this one guy. So I started talking, and then found out. And here's what I'm trying to make sure that you heard. We got together. It was by happenstance. And the reason we got together is because he noticed my confidence. Almost everybody would say, I'm talking to a billionaire. Ooh, whoa, hey, I was fine without you. We got on this meeting here. Before this meeting, I was fine without you. And I'm going to be fine the rest of my life. So I'm not worried about it. But that confidence you have because you went to the academy, because you sailed out at sea. Don't ever restrict yourself. The possibility is endless in what you can do with your life. You keep your confidence, you keep your leadership skills, you keep your leadership ability, and you keep going forward. Yes, next one.
We have a question from the group from Mr. David Betancourt.
Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your presentation. It was really informative and helpful. But my question is, like, I'm a senior at Kings
Okay.
Point, and I'm coming at the crossroads, trying to figure out what I want to do. I know long term, I eventually want to start my own business in some type of maritime, like construction or repair, contract work. But that's long. In order to get there, I don't necessarily know if I want to go shoreside first, and work my way up and figure out what's good, or if I should chase the money now, that I'm younger, so that I can build that wealth, get into real estate, kind of start my business earlier. I just wanted to know what your recommendations were about that, or your thoughts about chasing the money right, while we're younger, so that way we can start moving forward with those plans.
here's the most important thing. I want to make sure you hear this. You got to go where your passion is. See, and you got to go where your mindset and belief is. If you go, and then you got to say, what are my skills? I look at it like this in life. You got to learn some skills. And that was why I told you there was only 3 ways to grow a business. Okay, I said that. And then I'm going to give you the next 3 things that's important in a business as well. There's 3 parts to any type of business. 3 parts. You got presentation, prospecting, and closing. Just out of curiosity, since I'm able to chat with you, if you're going to make a presentation, is presentation, prospecting, or closing, which one of those is the most important in your mind right now?
I would say prospecting, seeing what's like available and what would work out.
All right. And if you had to pick second, what would that be?
Probably presentation.
Okay. Let me make sure you really hear this, and I'm going to make sure that you hear it. Prospecting and closing are not the most important. The most important is presentation, because once you got a good presentation, the presentation gives you the confidence to go prospect, and the natural ending to a good presentation is the closing. So the most important part is presentation. And I ask that question, I tell you, as I train people all over the world, most people say prospecting or closing is the most important, and they're dead wrong. And the reason I'm telling you this is because I'm going to add the next piece, because you asked, what are you going to do? And the previous question talked about, should they wait to this and that? Develop a good presentation, okay? A good presentation. The natural ending is a good closing. And then that gives you the confidence to act and speak properly. And then your hard work and dedication to learn your skills. Like I said, when you get out there, if you go out to sea, I can promise you this, you get out to sea, there's a problem, you don't have time to go say, let me run upstairs and go get my book and see if I'm supposed. No, you have got to know what you're doing. But part of that, as I talk to people, and that's why you saw me reach right over here, right? Because I talk to people all over the world, and they think they're talking to a regular person. And then when I go do this and I pull out what I just showed you, okay, I'm going to ask you a question right now, because you're going to do it. And hopefully somebody sees this. Have you seen anybody with a 108-page table of contents of their own personal library in the world?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So when I'm talking to somebody, I want to make sure they know you're not talking to the average guy. So when I sound confident, it's because I am confident, but then I know I have to show. And remember that word, show. If you can show somebody your skill, your thinking, whatever it is, if you can show somebody, I promise you, whatever the normal situation is immaterial. It's immaterial. And you have that confidence, because when you go aboard a ship, right? When you go aboard a ship, what do I'm just curious, what's the first thing you're going to do?
Right, introduce myself, take a tour, and look at all the firefighting equipment.
You're done with that nonsense. Now, as the first thing you're going to do, you got to do something. Okay, I'm going to tell you what I do. Okay, get out there. You obviously you meet the chief engineer. The first few people, right? And then you get which watch you're going to be. So, if you're new, usually you're the third, you're going to be the 8 to 12 and 8 to 12, right? Okay. And then the second goes to 12 to 4, 12 to 4. Then the chief gets, the other 4 to 8, 4 to 8. But what I'm doing is I'm tracing the lines. I need to know the lube oil system. I need to know potable water. I need the refrigeration. I need to know the boilers. So I'm actually, I got my little piece of paper. I've drawn all this stuff, so I know where all this stuff is. Because if something goes wrong, and then I'm going to, after I've done that, and I know what that is, I'm gonna memorize that so that I know where all that stuff is. Then guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go to the machine shop and make sure to see what's available in there. Because if something breaks, guess what you gotta do? What are you gonna do? You gotta fix it, right? You gotta know where that stuff is. You gotta see what's there. Do I, lathe, you got this, Where's my welding? Where's the equipment? Where is the equipment? You need to know. Where is that stuff? So you have to do that. And and I'm telling you, apply the same things to everything that you're doing. So, but you got to be passionate about what it is that you're doing. And by the way, I did work out an arrangement with the guy. And as we talked, he told me, he says, I've never had anybody talk to me the way you talk to me. He said, nobody, ever. And the only reason I can talk that way is I got the skills from the academy. I'm telling you, when I was at the academy, 24 units, 27 a quarter. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I was working like crazy. I had the efficiency working every 10 minutes between class and all of that. But that skill it got the confidence. And I'm telling you, you guys have the best training in the world. And I've been in the classes. I've been in the classes. Yeah, I went to Harvard. I'm going to tell you this right now. Half the people can't speak and the other half can't write. So I wasn't worried. I don't worry about anybody. They say, yeah, well, Harvard, yeah, they're smart kids. Yes, they are smart. And I'm not telling you that they're dumb or anything else. So make sure you don't miss that. But they don't. A lot of them didn't have the confidence. They didn't have confidence. We have that at the academy. You have that, and that skill translates to every area of your life. You got to embrace that. Embrace your strength and focus in on your strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses. A lot of people out there just lie. A lot of people out there, don't worry about that. You don't even have to worry about the bad people or anything. Focus in on your strengths. Focus in on your discipline. Find your strength in you. Find your strength in your discipline. And nobody's going to touch you. Nobody. You're going to have great careers. And that's all I know. The academy graduates that I know. Sometimes you got to make hard decisions. There's a gentleman by the name of Ken Nelson. He was featured on, part, with some others in the documentary. They had to make some decisions out in the middle of the ocean, and they saved a whole bunch of people. But that's confidence. That's confidence. That's doing the deal. And like I said, I got great classmates. I got a gentleman by the name of Bill Howe. These guys are great people, man. And so it's not just me. It's them. It's your client. It's the one sitting next to you, the one right behind you. I don't even know who else is in the room with you, but it's whoever is there. Anybody else in the room? Tell them to poke their head over near you.
Yeah.
I just want to see it. There you go. All right. What are you going to take it off again? I want to see the person. Take them over there. Get back. There you go. All right. So that's good. And let me just make, so I'm telling you, you don't know. I mean, I look at this and like I said, I'm so proud of the women of 78. I'm so proud. I'm just using that as an example. I'm telling you right now, those women are giants. They were pioneers. They took the heat. They set the bar high for all of you. And you guys can take it to the bank. You can do it while you're doing your obligation. I keep mentioning that, right? Because part of this, the part of what we had to do is we had to figure out how to do that, how to do this stuff that we're talking about now within the constraints of doing your obligation. That's part of what makes you strong. That's part of what makes you special. That's part of what gives you the confidence to keep moving forward. It's not a disadvantage. It's an honor to do your obligation. It's an honor. And then you start going through, and I promise you, you get out in the real world, people are going to love you. They're going to love you. And it's up to you to make sure that happens. Someone else in there. I see some more people.
We have 2 questions in the chat. The first one is, if you were to graduate this June and wanted to get into investing in real estate in the 6 months off from sailing, what are the first steps you would take after graduation or even now?
Okay, right. Okay, so it's real simple. Okay, you guys got to listen to this. And once again, okay, I'm going to show you. You take a city, any city, and so this happens to be Oakland, California, right here. This, you take any city, and you should see I have maps, right? You can see this here. You see a circle. I got a circle here. There's green. There's one that's yellow, and there's one that's orange. What you want to do in real estate is, if you're going to buy some, you want to buy in the path of growth. Now, I promise you, there ain't nobody else going to tell you what I just told you. You got to buy in the path of growth. So when I sold real estate, by the way, and I've done some things that I can tell you that no other real estate agent in the world has done. See, I'm excited. I think world. I don't think just a little area. So I'm going to make sure the mindset is big, because I'm thinking big from the start. That's what you got to do. So I used to have conversations with people and say, listen, we're going to do the starter area, and that's this one. So we're going to start you here, and then we're going to buy the next home over here, and this is the Diamond District, and then we'll buy the next home in the Montclair District. So that is the path of growth, and that's where you want to buy. And you can do this in any city in the United States, because as I train people all over all over North America, Canada, the US, and Mexico, I train people to buy in the path of growth. If you're a buyer, that's what I would do. And then I would only do a maximum of a 15-year fixed note, okay? And then I did something a little bit different than the way most people would say. Like I said, I started to double up on a couple payments to try to get the thing down. I'm trying to get it so that it's free and clear. Once you have a property that's free and clear, you position yourself so that you'll always have increased wealth and keep going. So that's what I would do if I was them. I would do that. Next question.
Okay, so the next question is, Mr. Brooks, you spoke a lot about your postgraduate education. Where did this education take you afterwards?
What, the postgraduate?
Yes.
I mean, no, oh my goodness. I mean, and this is not me, just me. This is my fellow classmates. Okay, so I mean, you get your education here at the academy. If you want to, if you're going to doing real estate, you can go and do real estate. Take Reginald McCamey. He's still a successful lawyer today. So what I'm saying is that it's whatever it meets your passion. I love right now, my strength is I love to talk to people. I know that's going to be hard for you to believe, but that's my strength. That's my strength. So I get people believing in themselves. And so I like to talk to people all around the world and show them how they can make money doing it online. I just love that. That's his passion. I do it for free. That's, just like I go to the academy for free, I do that for free too. I love it. Now, how do you know I'm doing it for free? You go up on Facebook, you'll see the kind of information I provide to people. I don't ask for not one dime. I don't ask nothing from anybody. You'll see it if you go up there, like I told you, www.facebook.com/the-Nate-Brooks, all one word. There's no separation, because you ain't gonna find me if you look up Nate Brooks on Facebook. You'll find me as the Nate Brooks. So I mean, that should also tell you that this guy's psycho case. He actually will say something like that. He's the Nate Brooks. He's not just one of them. He's the one. So anyway, so that's my point to you, is that you got to decide. And it's, once you decide, the world is your oyster, whether you want to be a lawyer, you want to be a teacher. I mean, there's teachers. It's up to you to decide what you want to be. I found that for me, I love to do things online because I love to talk to people all over the world. I learn so much every day. And people say, well, you're trying to do this or get some money. I said, no, I don't need any money from you, but here's what I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn your culture. I'm going to learn how the people think over in your part of the world. I'm going to ask you questions to see, is there any way I can find the opportunity where you're at? So I'm thinking differently. I'm thinking, how do I do something? And each one of my classmates that have done different degrees or different things, they've applied it different ways, and, like, consulting work. You got Frances Yates, who I believe she's still out on the island there, right there in Long Island. She's now doing consulting. She went in as in the maritime industry, became a captain herself, and chief mate, and a captain. And so consulting. When I also got out, I used to work at Temple Barker and Sloan out in Wellesley, Massachusetts, because they did maritime consulting. So I'm sharing that, and there was a guy there that came from Kings Point, Randy Wise. And you notice that I have all the names and everything when I talk to you guys. It's because I did it. I was right there in the trenches with these people. So, and that's what I'm saying. You get into trenches, find a couple Kings Point graduates that's going to help you. They'll help you in the different fields that you're interested in. Next question.
I don't see any more questions in the chat. Does anyone have any questions? If so, you can go to the reaction and raise your hand. All right, looking through, I don't see any questions.
Okay, so
I do want to take the time to, oh, wait, we have a question. Go ahead, Captain Kale.
Sure, I can ask questions all day. So at this stage, do you consider yourself to be a nuclear engineer or a consultant or a real estate entrepreneur? What would you, if you had to write down, what am I? Describe, what am I?
I'm gonna mention one phrase. I'm a doer of life. I'm a doer of life. I like to do. And so I'm open to any opportunity that makes sense, that relies on my strengths. So there's people out there that, that are trying to, find different ways. I'm saying, what is Nate Brooks strong at? And so when I talk to people, I'm strong at being disciplined, doing the detailed work. I love discipline. I love working hard. I expect things to be hard. So I'm not looking for the shortcut. I always tell people that I work with, the shortcut is the long cut. And everybody's looking for something to make it easier. No, your advantage is to not make it easier. That's your advantage. I'm telling you, people have very little confidence in life. You just have your confidence. And I got all of this stuff at the academy. And for you guys that are plebes, I was super plebe. I was the guy that was doing crazy things, running around in the football field with your cape and all that kind of stuff. And I don't know if I should admit this, but climbing up the stack, doing all those crazy things. So I'm used to being out there. I believe in myself. I've been a pretty good bowler. And I understand that we took down the bowling that I used to love. I used to love that at the academy. I remember having lots of good, matches with Kenneth Nelson, as I mentioned him earlier, and at the bowling center. But I've won 20 amateur titles in 5 different states. So I love bowling. I love it. And so I love what I do. And that's why I say I'm a doer of life. So a doer of life, doer of business. I know how to think. I know for a fact that there's very few people have done the hard work that I've done. So I listen to people. I'm not saying I don't listen to people, I do. But I know that, and I actually did all the work. I studied. And now watch this. And this is a little piece of advice for you guys. And notice I pulled everything from here. So this is notebook, right? This is a regular college kind of notebook. I have, so, and this is today, this is today. Okay. I can tell you what I've done from 1981 until today. It's all recorded in these in these kind of notebooks. It's recorded. So my point is that I've done the deal. I love discipline. It's exciting to me. I know other people. I'm just excited. So, Peter Kale, I am glad you asked that. And this is not a journal, guys. This is, I write down what I do throughout the day so that I have recorded everything that's important to me in my life at that moment in time. Do the same and you're going to find out you have zero competition, zero. And your confidence, your leadership skills, that's what's going to take you to the top. And then, like I said, make sure you are focused on your strengths. Don't worry about your weaknesses, and don't worry about people understanding you. They're not going to understand you. You know, just do your best and keep doing your best and get better and better every day. And I don't believe that there's anybody that can compete with you. And I love Academy graduates. I see them at the top of whatever they're doing.
Right, thank
Another
you.
question?
Any more questions? Any other questions?
I could ask you questions all day, Nate.
I mean, this is recorded. I want to do whatever you think is necessary for the students.
I was
That's what I'm
thinking
gonna
that
do.
as they progress, you know, we talked about this offline. As we measure success, how has the way you measure your personal success changed through your lifetime? Because, you know, you've been around a while. A little bit longer than I am.
Wow. Okay. Oh, that was a way. You see how we dropped that in? I've been around a while.
A while.
That was a nice little drop in there.
Significant amount of time.
Yes. Okay. So the answer to in life is see, you don't measure success by life, you know, and everybody measures their success by something else, and it changes as you grow. See, when you first, if you don't have much, you're focusing on financial. Oh my God, I need to make a little bit more money. I need to do this. So that's when you get there. But once you get past that stage, then it's not about the money, and it's about, am I living a life that I feel good about? See, the reason I was able to talk to, you know, that wealthy gentleman, and the reason I was able to talk is because I'm living a great life. I love what I do. I love how I live my life. So anything I do now, it has to flow with what I feel is important and what I love to do. For me, I have a friend that I was talking to the other day, okay? And I have two appointments. I had a choice of setting another appointment on the 3rd and another appointment on the 13th, okay? The same for the same event. And I chose the 13th because what has to happen after the 13th is going to take about 4 or 5, 6 days. And I did not want to risk missing this. And that's when the friend of mine said, wow, because I always take the earlier one. I'm always ready to go sooner rather than later. But when I took the one that was later, person said, oh my God, whatever's happening on the 11th has got to be important because this guy has never chosen the second option. So it changes. See, for me, honestly, I don't think, you know, people don't really understand this. My life changed because of the academy. I had great professors. I had great, and they work hard to make sure that you do it. They challenge you. They challenge you because they know you're going to get out there aboard ship and you got to make life and death decisions, mechanical decisions, and in seconds, not minutes or not hours. So that you got to know what you're doing. And I remember, guys, that you're going to study for your license. I remember studying for my license. I had a study partner, Joe Lonsdale. Joe Lonsdale and I worked our butts off, man. We were just studying like crazy. They still do that week, you know, of yeah, you know, it was hard, but we virtually, Joe, I remember Joe and I, we almost didn't sleep, man, for the whole week. I mean, we're talking to sleep. We forget that nonsense. Maybe we got an hour. Okay, lucky about that. But so it changes, your value changes. It's not about, so initially, I think if you don't have enough wealth or something like that, I think that you're probably going to be, okay, I need to make another, but you got to shift that for yourself, because you ultimately, my definition is really value freedom. If there's one thing you search for first, is time freedom. I look at people, I tell people, find time freedom first. Once you have time freedom, okay, that allows you to get the other freedoms that you want in your life. So, and most people think it's a lot. No, it can only be $200, $300, $400, $500 extra. Once you have that, that buys you insurance, you know, your car payment, it buys you a little bit of gas, a couple date nights, it buys, so you work your time freedom, then you start trading, because profits are better than wages. So you want to make sure that you have profits, and then that gives you time freedom. And then once you have time freedom, now that allows you to go outside and meet people and create experiences that make happy memories, that you feel good and proud about yourself and how you live in your life. And I have this phrase here that says, many people have they have a big ego, and what ego stands for is edging greatness out of your life. So don't edge greatness out of your life. Take advantage of your skills, your discipline, and that's how you do it. I think somebody else just popped in.
There's two questions in the chat. Do you have time to answer them?
I have time for everything.
Okay.
I organized my life around this today.
All right, great. So the first one, speaking of wealth, if you had $10,000 in savings your plebe year, what would you do with or recommend doing in this economy?
First, I gotta make sure people know I did not have $10,000 in savings in my plebe year. I was poor, so I make sure I start that. And I'm not a financial advisor to tell anybody anything, but here's what I would do. I would get debt free. If I had to make one piece of advice, and I can't do that because now somebody's gonna legally, you know, come out and sue me and all the rest of this nonsense. But get debt free and do not worry about the economy. The economy doesn't matter. I'm telling you, it really doesn't matter. You guys, once you got a plan, you set a plan, you go to work, and then you first do enough. You build any business around residual income. So that's what you're building the business around. Residual income is what gives you time freedom. Time freedom gives you the ability to strengthen your weaknesses and grow personally. That whole concept then gives you the ability to have experiences, which you can then turn into memories and just a great life. So I hope people can get that sequence, you know, that sequence, because that sequence, if you get that, then you'll start living a purpose-driven life. You'll start living it like that. And then anything you do, make sure it flows within your, and I know that 10,000 sounds like a lot to you. That's really nothing, guys. You got to start, you got to shift your thinking bigger. That's not any big deal anymore, you know? So I'm saying that just to say, now's the time to start raising your level of thinking. You got to raise your level, believe you're the best. Once you believe you're the best, money is never an issue anymore. You'll figure it out. You'll figure it out, and you'll figure out how to get it. And always remember, profits are better than wages. You know, some people, and I'm not saying that you don't want to get a good salary. Yeah, you want to get that, but carve out some time so that you can make some profits that turns out to be better than wages. And I was giving counsel to a young woman. She had a part-time, I mean, she had a full-time job, or technically full-time. It was like $30 an hour. And she was making, they only gave her 30 hours. Now, why did they give her 30? Because they didn't want to pay benefits. Okay, I'm just telling you how that really works. So I told her, I said, listen, let's set up a plan for you. So what I did is I said, okay, we're going to find another, well, the first thing I said, you're going to have to live off of that, and you live off of that 70% of whatever that money is. Now, if you need to go get an apartment, go get an apartment with somebody else. Okay, so we designed that 70% to be dealing with that first part, the first 30 hours that you work. Then I said, okay, now let's create something that you do for 10 hours. And I had to double the wages. So now I said, now you get $60 an hour for these 10. Then I said, it would be nice if you just had a 40-hour work week. But let me make sure you understand this. Now is not the time to work 40 hours. So I'm going to tell you what to do for 10 hours more, but you're going to make $100 an hour on those 10. See, so what I did is I said time commitment, and now we find the activity that fits that. When you're an entrepreneur, you start figuring out how to make those shifts, and then always know that profits are better than wages. And then that allows you to then attack that money and put it to what you need to put it to. Next one. You don't want me to hear you, do you?
I'm sorry, I muted because I got a phone call. So the next question is, with the opportunity of $30,000 career starting loan first class year, what kind of options do you suggest looking into to begin strong investment?
So 30,000,
Yes,
and that, do they have income?
I would have to ask the person asking the question to be able
So I'm
to
gonna have to make
respond.
some assumptions. Okay, so if I have 30,000, and then depending on where do they live,
Nate, the students get a very, 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 very low interest rate at a loan at 30,000, like 0.5% or something like that.
oh wow, okay, that's cash.
Yeah,
That's
pretty much.
good.
It looks
That's
like
pretty good
cash.
cash. Okay,
They owe it though. They borrow it.
okay, but I mean, I understand that, but half a percent is nothing, man. I mean, hey, give me some more. Hey, let me get some of that.
They never loan it to me.
Yeah, there you go. So if you had that, basically, I would look at wherever I'm in whatever city. So let's assume that you live in New Orleans. I'm using that as an example only just because I'm just picking the city. I would basically, me personally, I'd get a property in the path of growth, like I said. And if you're looking to hold it for a long time, and now once again, and make sure that you understand that these are hypothetical examples. I don't expect anybody to take advantage. I don't need anybody coming back to say you're giving me investment advice and all the rest of that nonsense, because I'm just basically trying to be a nice person to help students. And I recommend that you use your financial advisor. I'm going to do all this legal stuff. I'm not a financial person. I'm not any of that stuff. But I'm, sometimes you ask straight out questions. I have the courage to deal with life as it unfolds. So, but I would basically, if you get that, that's basically cash, as far as I'm concerned. So buy property in the path of growth, figure out who's there, and then, pay it off and, leverage that. It's not a good answer only because I really can't give any financial advice. You know what I'm saying, like that? Because that's very specific. I don't need anybody coming back to, and beat me up and all the rest of that stuff. But so I can't answer any more than I just did for that. But look into it because you have an advantage. Look into it. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Well, so yeah, it's strangely, a lot of people stayed on. They didn't drop off. That must be my good looks. Oh, it's your good looks. Oh, wow.
It happens all the time.
Oh, all the time.
All the time.
Wow. Oh, I
Okay,
love
well,
it.
Thank
I
you,
guess
Nate.
I'll, thank you so much for this afternoon. It was very enlightening, very informative, and very entertaining. So on behalf of the people here, I thank you very much.
I appreciate it. And probably I'm going to just have one last thing, that I'm going to say here. Believe in possibility. Your destiny is to be great. Your destiny is not to be average. Never settle. You're going to get what you settle for in life. So if you settle for less, that's what you're gonna get. If you want the best, you can't settle for less than the best. And if you do anything other than less than the best, you're gonna get that, whatever that disaster is. So it's up to you to not settle for anything in your life. Your job is to create the masterpiece. You're the architect of your own future. And you got an advantage over most people, period. And you have a great education. I had the foundation to obviously compete in the world against the top people in the world. Have your confidence, believe in yourself. Don't worry about anybody else. And if there was any advice, you know how people complain all the time? I'm going to tell you, whatever it is that you want, whatever it is, keep your mindset on that. Yes, there's going to be hiccups and everything else. Don't worry about that. Focus in on what you want and make your plan and take actions to make that work, period. Don't listen to those negative, whining, complaining babies in life. Don't listen to them. They're only going to destroy your dream. And you don't want to let any mediocre destroy your dream in life. Any mediocre person should never destroy your dreams. And it happens if you start, and the conversation sounds like this. Okay, this is, you really hit a touch point here, because people keep saying, well, I'm going to work hard so that I can, so that I can do the things that the other person who's not willing to do it can't do. Right there, they're already lost. Because in order to get what you want, you got to focus in on what you're doing and what you want. You can't be focusing on, well, I'm going to do it so I can get the things that this other person. The minute you spend time wasting on that kind of thinking, you're not focusing on what you need to be doing. Focus in on what you're doing, period. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing. Focus in on you, period. Forget the rest. So that's the advice I can tell you, because you're going to deal with all these whining, complaining babies outside. And, you don't need to listen to that nonsense. I'm trying to be as direct as I can be. And we're talking, you want some life advice? That's what I'm talking about, life advice. 40 years from now, 50 years from now, and you guys have the ability to be strong and to make things happen. And you have that advantage. You can have all that flexibility in life. It's up to you to make your life a masterpiece. Nobody else's responsibility. It's up to you, each and every single one of you, and you can do it. You work hard. Let everybody else, talk about this and that TV. I have no idea what's on TV. I couldn't even tell you. I mean, and I'm lying. I do watch Jeopardy. I enjoy Jeopardy. So that's my, if I'm watching anything, I'm watching Jeopardy. Now, you young kids probably don't relate to that, but I just enjoy that because it's a game show that challenges your mind. And so that's what I love. I love to challenge my mind. I love living life. And ultimately, life is about what I call value freedom. And value freedom means you're doing things, you're accepting things as it unfolds. I'm not talking about politics or religion or nothing like that. I'm talking about how do you become better, how do you grow, and how do you create memorable experience in your life and the people that you talk to. That's really what we have an incredible advantage in life being from the Merchant Marine Academy, and there's nothing like it in the world, nothing, zero. You guys need to own that, embrace it, and then you're going to be really proud, 50 years from now, that, you're going to come back here and you're going to be able to talk just like I'm talking right now. Say, hey, wow, he was right, that old guy. But you know what's going to happen? If you come back and you talk, I'm still going to be around. I'm still going to be around because I plan on being here another 40 years. I just plan on it. And that's how I'm trying to live my life to do that. Now, will I make it? Who knows? But I'm going to have fun going all the way out. I'll tell you one other story because I just got a story. And I'm going to share this because I don't normally tell people my personal life. I just normally keep it to myself. But on November 5th, this just happened, right? So we're in January, just 60 days ago, something like that. And I'm normally I had emergency surgery, just out of the clear blue sky. Not a heart attack, not cancer, nothing like that. And it just so happens that there was a quirk, something got in my body, and then it twisted the colon, and I almost was septic. So, so you probably, maybe an hour away, because that thing was tightening up, ready to burst. And so I was talking to the doctor before they put me under. And so I told the doctor, I said, so we were talking, and I said, listen, you're going to have some real time decisions to make, in a few minutes. I said, I just want you to know, I've lived a great life. I'd like to see you on the other side. I'd like to wake back up, because I don't think I'm done. But I told him, I said, listen, I want you to know I've lived a great life. And if it's my time and I don't see you on the other side, it's fine. So relax, do your best. And the guy stopped me. He says, I've never had a guy giving me a motivational lecture, and that guy is on the table. And he was like, he was stunned. But I feel that, for me, I mean, it was like, wow, because I feel like, and for me, this today was so important for me because it's full circle. Because like I said, I walked in that place, it's July 1971, poor kid from the projects in the South Bronx. My life has changed because I went right there to that U.S. Merchant Marine Academy. Some great teachers, great instructors. I mean, and they gave me that ability to change my life. That's what's at stake here for all of you. That's what's at stake. You can literally change your life. So that's my final message.
Well, again, thank you so much. There's been a lot of questions about this recording. A lot of people unfortunately couldn't attend. So it is being recorded, and we are going to make it available. We don't yet know at this moment exactly how we're going to do it, but once we know, we'll put it out to people so they can.
But
they can see it.
just make sure you give one to me, because I got people that want it. And
Absolutely.
they have supported me. And you know how people say that today the people don't want to, take the time to look at stuff. I don't worry about those people. I only worry about the people who are going to take the time. That's the other thing in life. Worry about the people, people say, oh, make things shorter, this and that. Don't worry about it. You ain't gonna affect those people anyway. They ain't gonna do anything with their life. Focus in on the people that want it. That's it. You focus in on the people that want it, help those people. The rest of them, they're gonna have to find their own way. And that's the way life goes. And so that's the kind of leadership people we develop, people of strength here. People of strength. I got my relationships with my academy graduates. These guys are strong. These guys have got confidence. And I'm proud to say that I went to school with them. And I don't get this whining, complaining baby stuff from these people. I don't get all that stuff. I get, here's what I'm doing. This makes sense, but let's do this. Okay, you're gonna come down here. Let's do this. Let's get this. And so we do stuff. We create things. That's what you want to be, a doer of life. And that's why I said I'm a doer of life. So that's the one thing I do. Tell me what we got, look at the opportunity, and let's see how we can figure it and make it work. Okay, so I just want to make sure I have that. If I have that, I'm happy. And if I can help you in specifically targeting, like you say, you want to make something, you let me know. We'll do something specific for this one part. And then that way we can get a little bit more detailed in that one area. I'm more than happy to help out. If, whatever we need, this is the place that I love. And this is the place that made a difference in my life to start. I can't do anything except give back. I can't. I don't know what else I could say.
Well, again, thank you. And I wanted to tell the group that we have the next in this industrial hours speaker series on February 8th. And our speaker will be the Maritime Administrator. We don't yet have a specific topic, but we'll let people know about that.
Great. Cool.